Safe El Sally.
Yes.
Welcome. Thanks for making the trip from Hamilton.
Yeah.
How's the traffic?
Thanks for having me. It's not too bad.
No? That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So that video I think was really interesting. That was just sent to me this morning, and I think that we keep talking about the housing crisis. We're in a tough market right now from a housing perspective. Mm-hmm. Our industries are in a tough spot, but that doesn't negate the fact that we still have a housing crisis in Ontario, especially in the GTA.
You're right.
And I think the type of thinking that we just saw in this video that was put out by U of T is one of the things that I think could be, sorry for my voice there, for a major solution to all this. Not just the big developers putting up towers and subdivisions, but like they coined it, the citizen developer, right? Turning existing properties in the city, in the surrounding cities, into multiple properties, right? But we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's talk about your story. NewFore Inc. But let's start back, your background, where you're from, when you moved to Canada, that whole story that you and I talked about in the pre-call.
Yeah. So I'm originally Egyptian. Both of my parents are Egyptian. I was born and raised in a city called Abu Dhabi, which is neighboring Dubai. Mm-hmm. I was there for the first 15 years of my life. And then I moved here in high school. And, I've been here since. It's been almost 17 years. And the path was a little bit... different because, the sense I started, I went to school, graduated, got an engineering degree. Then I started working in the mining and metals out in Quebec, and then in northern BC. And then at some point I said, you know what, I want a bit of a lifestyle change because I want to have a life.
Stuck in the north all the time.
Exactly, yeah. It was a whole fly in, fly out. Then I came back here and I said, I want to do something where, I get to see friends, I get to see family. Then I got a job. But then I found out it doesn't pay enough. So I ended up, starting a bit of a side hustle. And my first idea was to build container homes. So I very, very quickly found out why that's not so feasible because, the big cost is the land and then you're putting a small, effectively one dwelling on it. Mm-hmm. So the numbers really didn't work. And I found out that,
Are you talking about single family homes with using containers? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because think about it, back in like 2016, multifamily, when people were splitting things, you were doing maybe a basement, but nobody was really doing as many, fourplexes, and the multiplex talk wasn't as much as now. Think about back then when, even 15 years ago, when developers were building and you had a Mattamy Homes, for example, subdivision, the average house was a 2,500 square foot home, single family detached. Mm-hmm. Now they're doing stacked townhouses. So everything is getting more and more dense.
And it has to, right?
Yeah.
It really does.
So I started that, and then the container home idea didn't really work out. But then I started also buying real estate at the same time because I had saved up quite a bit of money when I was up north. So I started buying rental properties, doing a little bit of work to them, and then we started posting our work. Eventually, we got a bit busier, so I started working myself as well. I would work before my work hours and after my work hours. We started posting, then people hired us for work, and then it sort of snowballed from there.
So what time frame is all that? What year was all that where you started getting a bit of recognition for what you were doing with your own properties?
2016 to 2019 is when it was like, okay, we had consistent number of jobs that were coming in every year. Mm-hmm. And that's also when I quit as well.
Now, the municipalities have really gotten quite liberal when it comes to permitting the multi-unit, right? So did you see that transition happening? What was it like in 2016 trying to get approvals for this versus now?
2016, 90% of the stuff was done without permit. Yeah. Because there were already all these houses that already had a basement suite, like an in-law suite. They already had a kitchen. They already had enough headroom. So people were just renting it as is. I guess technically it's not legal, but that was what was going on. Mm-hmm. Now they're cracking down a lot more because they want these to be legal units, and rightfully so.
The code and everything, yeah, for sure.
Rightfully so, because now you can have 3-4 families living there, and the neighbor has the same issue, and the neighbor's neighbor has the same issue. So now it's getting a lot more dense. So it's more serious right now to be able to do this. So I wouldn't say it's a wise idea to do things unpermitted today.
Yeah, right, okay. We'll go back a little bit before we jump into this, but what brought you and your family from Abu Dhabi to Canada?
I was young, right? So it's a mom and dad's decision type of thing, but they were coming for the education.
Okay. They're getting education here.
Yeah, for me.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
How's the the experience been like going from a job, like you said, as an engineer, working in the northern mines and Quebec and BC, into entrepreneurship, starting your own business? What's that learning curve been like for you?
I like being an entrepreneur a lot better. And I think the reason for that is because of my personality. I really like when things are stressful, when you kind of have your back against the wall. Every day is exciting. Every day you have new challenges. And I genuinely enjoy fixing these problems. So I like that a lot better. A job is a lot more safe. It's a lot more predictable. So if you have a certain type of personality where maybe you don't deal with stress too well, then that's definitely a better option. But if you're someone that likes the thrill and you genuinely like to overcome challenges and it gives you kind of a some kind of self-worth, then entrepreneurship is better, much better.
And how big's your team now?
Now we're 20 people in-house plus our sub-trades.
Okay. And what's this with the sub-trades, like, how many projects would you do in a year, do you think?
It varies on the size. I would say in and around 40 plus or minus 5.
Okay. And so with the in-house and then the sub-trades, how many people would be being employed by your projects on a yearly basis? Roughly.
It's hard to say. It's got to be 40, 50. But like a lot of, you get a crew of electricians to come and do a job. That's 3, 4 people right there.
Yeah.
Same for the mechanical, same for the plumbing. So that number is obviously a lot higher than what our in-house guys are.
Okay. Okay, so now tell me what NewFore focuses on. What are you guys doing for clients?
We focus on residential renovations and commercial projects as well. The residential is split in a couple of different ways. We have renovations for end users. So for example, you come, you call our team, you say, hey guys, I want to do something with my house. It's dated. Maybe we come in, we fully gut it. Maybe you add a second story addition, a rear addition. Or you could come to us if you're an investor and then you say, okay, I have this property. You might come to us when it's still early days. You don't even have a permit. So we'll get it started from the permit stages all the way through construction until it's complete and we hand over the keys. You might be looking to convert it into a duplex, triplex, garden suite, whatever it is. We've done apartment buildings, though these days that's been a lot less of that type of work. And we also do commercial properties as well. So if you're coming out and you're doing a fit out for a restaurant, for a coffee shop, for a wine bar, a gym, then we do that as well. And this year we also landed our first public project directly for the city of Hamilton, and it's a retirement home.
Oh, interesting. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. I want to focus on the laneway conversions, the garden suites, if you will. How many of those are you doing? And where are you working, focusing on? Is it in Hamilton, or are you actually getting into the Greater Toronto area, Toronto specifically?
Okay, so we've done 5 of them so far.
Okay.
There's a lot more coming in because that's kind of how it is when there's a new concept. It takes a little bit of time for the concept to get some kind of acceptance.
Yeah.
And then there's, I believe, what's coming now, which is going to be sort of a snowball effect. So right now we focused in Hamilton, but we started going outside Hamilton and for projects that are within the design phase and looking to start construction. So we haven't signed those contracts yet, but it's only because we recently started going after those projects. And when I say further away, that's Toronto to Brantford, all the way to Niagara. So that whole area over there. So we are starting to go after those projects yet.
That's great. And I do, like, back to that video for a second, I really do think that that whole concept, and I like that U of T, how they coin that, the citizen developer, right? Taking what you have right now and turn that into a multi-unit property, increasing the value of your own property, cash flowing your property, helping to supplement. Some people are in situations now with the changing interest rates where their properties are getting tough to carry, right? So providing supplementary income with projects like this, I think could be a huge win for especially in Toronto here, where we're just really so short on inventory.
Yeah.
So how are the clients finding out about you? Are you working with realtors now? Are realtors reaching out to you on behalf of their clients as they're looking for properties, and as well as existing clients with existing properties?
We have a couple of realtors that we work with directly, and then right now also we've built a name for ourselves, especially in the local market, that people reach out to us when they do come across projects like this. So we're fortunate enough that we've been around for a few years right now in the city, and there's been quite a bit of traction. We post online all the time. We have a lot of social media presence, so people kind of see these ads and see our activity, and anybody that's interested is probably going to give us a call if the time comes.
Okay. The social media aspect of things. So I know you've brought on a PR person. Mm-hmm. How have you found social media content development that you've been doing. You've been doing a lot of video work. I've seen it. I think you even shot a pilot for a potential series. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So right now it's not finalized, so I can't give too much detail. But we are looking at we're in talks right now with getting that made into an actual pilot and an actual series with one network. So that the networks, for anybody that doesn't know about it, we shot a pilot episode. So we produced it. We hired obviously a video team that is able to do that kind of work, and then we shot a pilot episode called Tiny Homes Garage Edition. It's basically ADUs. So we took an existing abandoned garage that was not really in use. I think the homeowner used it as a shop, and then we turned it into a one-bedroom Airbnb unit. It makes an absolute killing, and it looks amazing. And it's for a little bit less than what they would have cost to put in a legal basement.
Okay.
So it's a lot better bang for your buck, because when you spend that same amount in a basement, yes, the basement one bed, let's say in our area, would rent for about $1,800 a month, $1,800 a month. But then the upstairs unit is now worth a little bit less because there's an adjacent unit, right?
Right.
So it's $500-$600 less, call it. So your net, you're only up, $1,200-$1,300. The garden suite, though, nothing happens to the income in the home. So those rent for a little bit more because it's a separate detached structure. So you're talking $1,900, $2,000. We've had one that rented for $2,050 plus utilities.
How many square feet would that be?
That one's small. It was 380,
380. Okay, that is small. Yeah.
but nothing happens to the income of the home. So you spend the same amount that you were going to spend in the basement, but you legitimately get a full lift of $2,000 to your bottom line.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of money.
And how is Hamilton right now? Is the city pretty easy to work with on these right now?
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain much. There's always a bit of an uphill battle when you're still going through planning and economic development department, because it's still in review stage and they're still talking about the design. But once the design is approved and it goes to building permit, it's fairly straightforward.
And in Toronto here, we've been talking about laneway housing for a number of years now, and you're seeing them pop up more and more. But I'm still surprised that more people aren't jumping on this. I just think it's a hidden gem. The fact that the city is so supportive of it right now, trying to deal with the housing, the shortage of inventory, more and more people need to be taking advantage of it. Are you starting to see that in Hamilton? Are people starting to recognize the potential here?
A lot of people know the potential of these projects. The reason a lot of people don't jump on them is because it's hard to get a grasp of the numbers before you actually do one. And we've done a few now, so we can shed some light on that. A typical project, if you were doing a duplex conversion, it's very easy to understand what your returns are going to be, how much money you're going to get back, because you say, okay, I'm going to put $150,000 into this, the rent is going to be that, and then the property is going to be worth this. And you know this because there's comparables, because residential is values based on comparables. There's no comparables for garden suites. So people say, okay, well, you know what? Now this property, if it was a duplex, it would bring in, for example, combined $4,500 a month. Now it's going to be bringing in $6,500 a month. Should, in a sensible manner, be worth X number of dollars. So if the duplex was worth $850, with that additional $2,000, it should be worth at least 1.1. But how is the house going to be worth 1.1? If there's no comparables? Yeah, so that's right. Exactly it.
And it's a mentality thing, right? It's educating homeowners, but not just homeowners, realtors, residential realtors, on valuing the properties through cap rates. It's a different way of looking at it compared to a way, like you said, traditional residential, just looking at comparables. And if you start building multi-unit suites out of these what were single-family home properties, it's just a different animal, right? From a valuation standpoint.
You're right. And here's the gist of it. Is on day one, well, let's not say day one. Let's say the conversion actually takes 6 months in total, so you hold on to the property. Let's say on month number 12, you do a refi. Typically, you get the full lift back on any other project that people have previously been doing. You get the lift because if it's a duplex, if it's a triplex, if it's multifamily, you get the full lift because that's what the value is. Right now, because there's no comps, you're going to have to do it twice. The first time, you're not going to get all your money back. On the duplex portion, which is the main home, you will, because there's comps for that. But then the way they value the garden suite is you're getting about 50 to 60 cents on the dollar for construction. So you're not getting all your money back. But it's a crazy cash cow until there's going to be new comparables that come up.
Yeah.
The day those comparables come up, I don't care where it's coming from, basement, main floor, garden suite, $2,000 a month is still $2,000 a month.
The mentality is not there yet. You're right for doing this for the purpose of flips.
Yes.
But for someone who wants to buy and hold,
Yes.
this is the way to go.
Yes. You're not going to see the value immediately on the bottom line right now on a balance sheet, for example, but you're going to be able to find that very, very quickly in, call it 2, 3, 4 years.
Yep.
One day it's going to hit where there's enough comparables on the market, and believe me, those houses are not going to be selling for what they sell today.
Yeah, yeah. And as you saw in the video, in Toronto here, we're pushing for 5 units.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why they're referring to the citizen developer taking a single family home and turn it into a 5-unit property.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The way most of these are going are 4 units in the actual existing home, and then turning the backyard into a garden suite or laneway house, however you want to call it. Yeah, it'd be nice to see that going across the board and into other municipalities like Hamilton and surrounding area.
You know what? It's interesting because if they allow you to do 5, you would probably know better in that sense. But wouldn't you be able to do commercial lending at that point?
Yeah.
If you do on a cap rate, this is.
I'm gonna send you. I have a team here that focuses on nothing but that. They're called Key to Wealth, and that's all they focus on. So they know the CMHC rules for lending inside out, and there's huge incentives from CMHC. Like 40 and 50-year amortizations,
Wow.
low interest rates, borrowing up to like 95%. But I'll send you some of the seminars so you can review it. But I'll connect you with these guys because there's huge potential. Like you said, as soon as you get into 5 units, it opens up a different world for you, right?
Wow, that's amazing. Because if you do a cap rate approach, that same house right now, let's just take the cap rate approach on that, call it 3-unit, a duplex plus a garden suite, just to give you an idea of what it should be worth. So right now in Hamilton, a duplex and a garden suite, you'd be at roughly in a good area, $850 on the duplex. That's the refi value. And then you only get like an extra 50 or 60 for the garden suite. So that thing would be worth $900 to $910. If you took that exact same income, less your expenses, and did a cap rate approach, it's worth 1.1 to 1.2.
Yeah.
So to me, that's kind of the indication of what is this going to cost in about 3-4 years? I would say it's going to cost close to whatever the cap rate approach is because the comps should be selling at that price too.
These guys were showing me a property the other day down in Ossington, and this is a single-family home, nothing, no laneway house or anything, just a backyard and 2 parking spots off a laneway. And they ran the numbers on what they could do on this property, which would be turning the main house into 4 units, a unit basement, and then a unit on each floor, adding a 3rd-floor addition, and then building a 1,000-square-foot laneway house. And that property would sell for probably around 1.35 right now, 1.4, and that property would gross $21,000 a month.
Unbelievable.
Like, think about that, right? So much potential.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think. I love this video. Like I said, Blair, my business partner, sent it to me this morning. U of T did it, and talking about the citizen developer. I think it's great.
That's awesome.
How do talk to me about your content and how that is translated into business for you? Are you finding the social media aspect of your content creation, because you're pretty active, it has actually translated into business?
Yeah, it has, but not in the typical sense, because before, at least the mentality that I had as well, and I'm sure many other people have, is you put out a piece of content, somebody clicks, you put a call to action, and then someone, you make effectively a purchase based on that video. Hey, call us today if you need this or that done. But right now, things are a lot more competitive, and people are only going to be spending the amount of money that our services cost if they truly trust you and they know you. So now it's more of a branding exercise and less a marketing exercise. So you have to, day in, day out, be showing people what the team is about. And the work is a given, that's a must, but people want more. Are they friendly? Are they easy to talk to? Do I want these people living in not living, but, spending 8 hours a day in my home, a place where, I sleep and I wake up every day. So now it's turned into more of a branding exercise. So we post a lot of things to just show how the team is, what the projects are, what the dynamic is. And you find that there ends up being a lot of talk about it. So you find out maybe after someone watches one video, another video. I think I was telling you this morning, I was just I was at the gym and someone was like, I see your content all the time. What does all the time mean? It's probably seen it more than 5 times.
Yeah.
But that's what it takes for someone to notice you now. So it's less marketing.
Building relationships.
Yes.
Like this is a way of building relationships efficiently, right? Like we have this debate all the time. This comes up in a lot of my episodes as well. And it's, trying to convince people that build content online is the way to go. It's just efficient. It's efficient. You're just reaching the masses. And like you said, like they're getting to know you as a person and beginning to trust you. And not only that, you're showing them that what you say you're going to do, you're delivering it, because there's examples day in and day out on your social content. Mm-hmm. And they're seeing you interact with your staff and the trades and whatnot, mm-hmm. as well as clients. And it just comes down to building trust, mm-hmm. right?
Social media helps with that a lot, because you can easily build trust when you're posting, 5 stories a day, 1 or 2 posts a day on 3-4 different platforms. People know that when you're committing to something and you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it, because you can just look up and see. Mm-hmm. You're doing it day in, day out.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me about how people can reach you, how people can find you.
Definitely our Instagram. We're super active on there. NewFore Inc. INC. So NEWFORE INC. Or you can go to our website, newfore.com.
Okay, and we'll put all that in the caption. As far as like my audience, for the most part, are realtors, which is my focus. What do you want to say to realtors? How can you help realtors in this market right now?
So realtors right now, I think there's a lot of gray area where people don't understand how exactly they could take this information and then effectively give it as value to their clients. Because at the end of the day, we're all in the same shoes. We're in business and we're doing okay because we provide value to our clients. Same thing the realtors do. They're also looking to provide value to their clients. So I would say, if you're in a position where you're not 100% sure how exactly this could translate to value for your clients specifically, give us a call. We'll hop on a quick call, and then we'll take, those 15, 20 minutes. And then for me specifically, I like doing stuff like that because it builds relationships, and you never know what comes out of that. So they can always get in contact with us, and we can see how exactly it could help them help their clients.
That's great. Do you know Eric Cleary? Have you ever heard that name, Eric Cleary?
I have
down
not.
the Niagara region. He's
not.
a pretty big agent, running a successful team, and,
Okay.
and he focuses on nothing but this. He has his own trades and everything that he does, but it might be a good contact, which I'll introduce you to.
Awesome.
As he expands his business as well.
That's awesome.
Great having you here. Thanks for making the trip from Hamilton, and I'm going to be checking in with you a number of times. I want to see this episode when it gets picked up.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. So
when do you actually hear about the series? And
I'm not entirely sure, but in that kind of field, the timelines are super lengthy. So
yeah, for sure.
It's probably, who knows, could be a year.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well, stay in
find
touch.
out. I'm sure there's going to be lots of little steps along the way, but for now, it's going to be a while.
That's great. Stay in touch then.
Will do.
Thank you, Saif.
Awesome.
Take care.